25 and 3 20s. So that is 85% of this mix, this $56 mix, 85% of it. That's 42.5 pounds. Okay? 42.5 pounds.
Of a 50-pound bag.
Of a 50-pound bag. All right, so I'm going to break it down by thing. Wheat, 10 pounds. Triticale, 10 pounds. Grain rye, 10 pounds. Wild winter peas, 12.5 pounds. So that makes up 42 pounds, okay, of a seed that can be planted how deep?
Inch deep.
Inch deep.
Needs to be covered.
Needs to be covered, inch
or
deep.
Or drilled deep, or
right.
covered.
Or broadcasted,
Arrow.
covered up.
Yep.
It's going to be nice.
All right, let's do another episode of the Woodsman Perspective podcast. And like I said, on earlier, when this time of year, we're all in on deer, and we're all in on food plots right now. That's top of mind. And around food plots, we've got something that we've kicked around,
and we have made fun of and laughed.
Almost every episode, we there's some reference to the seed with the big buck on the bag, or the what do you call it, the 11-way blend?
11-way blend, and the Dixie's. I'm gonna name a couple good names.
All right, well, look, let's set it up first. We got a special guest here, Mr. Pierce Young, with MDWFP. He's Private Lands Assistant Program Coordinator. Is that something like that? Something that
Assistant Coordinator, Private Lands.
And ever since he was young, he's been like me. He's a food plot junkie. He likes to. He's planted everything. He does a lot of test plots.
Enjoys the process.
He couldn't have been a better person to come in and say, we're glad you stick around. And it's a pretty funny thing.
I might learn a little bit too.
Right.
Well, look, it's going to be an interesting conversation because there's a lot. There's so much around this, and there's so much that it varies. There's reason behind all of it, and then there's benefit, and there's some takeaways.
And there's just selling seed.
Some of it is salesmanship. Some of it, look, I was
selling theirself.
I was in a store the other day and looking at the shelf. It was like being in a liquor store because they had like the top shelf. One of them was called Top Shelf. Yeah. It was in like a tube, and it looked like a bourbon. It was food plot.
It was food plot seed.
Yeah, it's just it's the marketing, the branding, all these things that are in that. I mean, the food plot seed. That's a big game right now. That's a big business. And
it is a big bit, because if it wouldn't, you wouldn't have all those different.
Everybody's got their face on the bag. It's a big branding opportunity.
Yeah, they've got football players, baseball players on the bags. They got all these, different people, and they're trying to sell the seed. So what we're going to do is we've never heard a podcast one. We're going to break one of these.
Let's talk about the blend.
We're going to break one of the blend. Why did we start doing the blend and what? Now, Pierce, you may know, but I'm a nut.
Yeah, I know that. You're a nut.
For history.
Yeah.
So I've been planting food plots since the 80s. And I didn't have nothing but a tiller, and I borrowed my daddy's tiller and plow. Now, I still remember this day. Now I got 15 tractors. I mean, and I plant food plots for people. For landowners, we're doing it right now, and I've tried every blend. I do a lot of research and stuff for Go Seed, Rissa, good friend of mine, and I've planted about every early thing, and I was just growing things. I loved it. So my first job was with the Corps of Engineers.
Yeah,
and during that time when the waterway got bought in the mid '80s, '85, when they opened up the waterway, the Corps took all that land mitigation. So they were the first units going out and planting stuff just for wildlife. Okay, they were the first ones doing it. So they had a biologist there named Danny Hartley, and I worked for Danny, and when I did, Danny and Tim Brooks.
Tim Brooks,
and they taught me a lot. But Danny was one of the first guys in the '80s to talk about food plots and make a blend.
Sure.
And I remembered, I don't forget anything, so I called Tim Brooks today, and Tim said, Tim's one of them guys, he don't throw nothing away. Tim said, yeah, I still got one of the original things. So Danny Hartley, and his wife then was Jenny Jones. She was a biologist at Mississippi State.
Yeah, I know.
And she was one of my teachers.
She was one of mine too.
And one more guy, and I think he's already passed. But anyway, they made the first plot, and it was so funny back then, wasn't but two things. You think about that. In that 88, when it come out in 88, they started doing the research in 85, 86, but they printed in 88, wheat, crimson clover. That was the thing. Wheat, crimson clover.
Yeah.
You can plant all this other stuff, but wheat, crimson clover. Then Ray Scott come out with Imperial Whitetail.
Yeah.
1988, that's when he came out with it. So he threw another curve in it. Hey, I'm going to plant a clover, a white perennial clover, just for deer. Nobody had ever seen that stuff. Plus, that'd been the first time it ever cost $100 a bag, and nobody's like, oh, God. and I can remember when I worked for the Corps of Engineers and saved up my money, I bought my first bag of crimson clover. I was telling Brenda about it. Bought it down below Aliceville, and I carried it home and put it in the middle room at the house so rats wouldn't get in. And I kept it there till I planted it. That's how much I was on board. So anyway, then you had Biologic, you had the 90s and the 2000s were the years
the heyday
of the mixes.
Oh, yeah.
So that's when they come. That's when they come. You probably when was you born?
89.
89. So you right before the boom.
Yeah.
So anyway, now I got a sheet right here. I got it from a good friend of ours, Knoxville Farm Supply. There's 26 mixes he sells. 26.
Wow.
Fall food plot mixes.
Fall food plot mixes. 26 of them. Okay.
Yeah. So how does you think about the average guy going in there?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what most of them are doing. They're looking at that right hand.
They're looking at that right hand column. Is that money? That money? So what I done? I'm not going to say a name of anything.
Sure.
So we called our Magnum PI looking manager of the co-op, Big Jeff. I said, Jeff, look, I got to steal 3 tags. He said, all right. I said, we're going to break down a seed blend tonight. So I got one right here. It's a $56 a bag. Okay, $56 a bag. So pretty high seed blend.
Yep.
And
what's that plant? An acre?
Half an acre.
He thought of half an acre, but so 2 bags of acres, you're probably looking at $112 just in seed if you plant in an acre. But we're going to look at the good and the bad, and I want you to kind of say, hey, boom, 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 because me and you already seeing one thing right off the bat. And so...
And it's kind of crazy.
The reason, and the reasons they're doing these blends, and I do like, because now we're looking at managing a deer more than just shooting him. We're looking at feeding him during the stress parts of the year beyond February,
That's right.
March, April, up to green out. And in some of these mixes, if planted properly, could last him all the way till now. Till now that we're ready to put another seed plot in the ground.
Yeah.
But you got some factors.
There's some caveats to that.
There's some things that me and you are going to break down because we've already talked about it. But the one thing I think we can talk about before we break this thing down, I think we talk about it first, because I saw where you put it out on Instagram, planting depth.
Yes.
Nobody ever thinks about planting depth. And well, they do. They think about planting depth for the big seed. So
the variance in planting depth.
The variance.
Yeah. And to the seed.
Because you had a thing out there, you showed a wheat down here, where it need inch deep as it needs to be.
Yep.
But then you showed a clover.
Yep.
Right on top of the ground.
Quarter inch. If it gets deeper than that.
Night. You're not going to see it.
Not going to see it.
Okay. So when we see guys going to the hunting club, Brent, you've been one of those guys, work days. You got a tractor, bring it Saturday. We're planting. We're going to the co-op. We're getting a buggy. Bring your whirlybird. We're getting, hey, this year we're putting a little more money. We're going to get a mix.
Yeah.
We're going to get a mix because we want to manage for some turkeys with some clover. We want to do some different. But we're going to get a mix. The biggest mistake, and when we break this down, it's going to go to planting depth.
Oh, yeah.
And here's why. So I'm going to break this 50-pound bag down real quick. I'm going to do it quick. So it's $50 a bag. So it's a 50-pound bag. Okay. So you got 20% winter peas, okay? Wild winter peas. You got 20% wheat that we all agree is good. 20% triticale, okay? So that's a kind of a between a wheat and an Elbine rye when you like
rye
that
hybrid.
and they like it. It's it's pretty good. it's got 20% Elbon rye in it.
Triticale?
Triticale?
Is that how you say it?
Triticale.
That's the way I've always said it.
Yeah, triticale.
That's right.
So y'all right here.
Sounds fancier when he says
So right here we got a 25 and 3 20s. So that is 85% of this mix, this $56 mix, 85% of it. That's 42.5 pounds. Okay? 42.5 pounds.
Of a 50-pound bag.
Of a 50-pound bag. All right, so I'm going to break it down by thing. Wheat, 10 pounds. Triticale, 10 pounds. Grain rye, 10 pounds. Wild winter peas, 12.5 pounds. So that makes up 42 pounds, okay, of a seed that can be planted how deep?
Inch deep.
Inch deep.
Needs to be covered.
Needs to be covered, inch
or
deep.
drilled deep, or
right.
covered.
Or broadcasted, covered up.
Yep.
Okay. So we're good with that because all of those big seeds, doves, crows, birds, even deer come out there and lick them and get them off there. I mean,
so let's go back to your guy, your situation.
Yes.
You said the work day, they probably ran a disc over that sucker with a piece of railroad iron.
No question. Leveled
7 or
it
8
out.
times. And
got it level and deep.
They disc and busted it up.
And that joker's got clods in it big as them fists. Okay? It just happens. It's never an easy.
That's right.
It's never perfect because, look, let's just say this. We want these listeners, we want the guys like us that's got a job. That's who our listeners are listening to this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
But I want them to listen to this, how this seed's broke down. Okay, so we already know there's 42.5 pounds of this stuff that needs to be planted an inch, optimal.
Yep.
Okay. So now we're going to go to clovers. So it's got 1, 2. It's got 2 clovers in it. It's got an air leaf clover, and it's got a crimson clover.
Which are good ones.
That are good clovers. Okay. Percentage-wise, you got 1 pound of crimson.
Pretty low.
What's the percentage?
Okay, and the percentage is 2%.
Okay, 2%.
2% crimson and 1% air leaf. So you've got 1 pound, a pound and a half. I'm sorry, pound and a half of crimson, and then 3/4 of a pound of air leaf.
And these are tiny seeds.
Little bitty seeds. They need to be what?
1/4 inch at the most.
Our on safest is on top of the ground,
On
correct?
top of the ground.
Okay.
Yep.
Now they got 3 kinds of rape in here. Okay. So the percentage of the rape is 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. 3 rapes.
At
3 rapes.
$56, there's one more rape happening too.
You ain't that. That's that dude walking down there going, God. But anyway.
Yeah. So 4.5% there.
So 4.5%. All right.
Another small seed.
Another small seed. Got to be on top. So if you know the rape, brassicas, the fud, turnips,
all
kale,
broadleaf.
turnips, kale, and rape. Okay.
Yep.
The wintering stuff you see. You got 1% chicory. Okay. So you got 1 pound of 1 pound of chicory. So out of that whole bag, okay, we're up to 48 pounds. 48 pounds. 42 of the big seed, the rest in the little seed. So here's the kicker that Brent brought, and you said, pronounce it. Inert
matter.
Inert matter.
That coating inoculant.
That's
probably.
right. Inert matter, crop seed,
Dust.
and weed seed, and dust. Okay?
Dust. Yep.
Makes up 2 pounds. That's nothing.
Yeah.
0.
Yep.
2 pounds. Nothing. You ain't got to worry about covering it too deep.
That's twice as much as
they
you got
care.
chicory.
It
You got
is,
twice as much
yeah.
nothing.
You got as much nothing as you got in clover in this bag.
So
You got as much nothing as you got in clover.
So another thing that we didn't look at or we didn't talk about, what's the percent pure seed and the germination rate of those as well?
Got 80% germ, 80% germ in all of them.
Yep, 80% probably on the clovers.
Yeah. We don't know how old it is, but now look now, we're planted in Mississippi, okay?
That's right.
So here's where the origins were. North Dakota, Arkansas, Oregon, Oklahoma, Oregon, Nevada, Oregon.
All right, so Pierce, what's your hot take on that?
So hot take on that, I mean, mainly it's going to be great, attractive grain
Got some
food
good
plot
stuff
in November, December, but that's about it. When you got a very small percentage of clovers
But if you plant them the normal way that we do. Disc it, good, Brent, section hair,
Yep.
broadcast it.
I think that's where he was going.
Okay.
That butt. I think that butt was probably
section hair back over it. Guess what you're going to have? Tell me.
Just grains, hardly.
Ain't no-
you know,
that's right.
because you have very little small seed in there, and it's only 80% germination rate.
Yeah.
You know, too.
Yes.
Most of those are not going to be at that ideal 1/4 inch depth. You know, and then
A lot of times
I
they
mean,
at the bottom of the bag.
that's the other thing. A lot they settle.
They settle.
and then you got some plants in there like the Austrian winter peas and the rapes they're not going to last.
One bite.
You know, one
That's
bite
it.
and they're gone.
Yeah.
You know,
One bite to go.
so
If it wasn't buried too deep to even come up.
Yeah, sure.
yeah, and if someone just threw that on top of the ground and a bunch of birds, turkeys came
Yeah.
in and it's just bird food, well, now you're left with a very small percentage of those clovers and small seeds that might make it through that. So you're going to almost have a crop failure, you know, if you don't harrow that, if you
Yeah.
don't cover it or
So
plant
let
it deep.
me tell you how. If I bought this for $56 or $38, I got 3 of them right here. One of them $38. One of them is 27. I wrote stuff on the back. Okay, 38, 56. If I had to plant one of these, and I'm not saying this is bad because it's got some pretty cool stuff in it.
Yeah.
I would get my field good and level, and I would broadcast it, and I would cultipack this seed. I think you'd do better by cultipacking this on top, even the grains, even the wheats, cultipacking on top
Sure.
to get the full fledge of
get
all
the
the other
maximum,
ones. To get the maximum of
To
all
get
the
the most of that 80%.
Yes. Instead of saying using it as an insurance, getting all of my stuff, getting the close to my 85% or 80%, it's broadcasting it. But like me and you talked about, wouldn't it be so much easier to buy a bag of wheat for $9.25, a bag of oats for $21,
No doubt.
and then we put them out there, and then I can buy a 50-pound bag of Crimson Clover for $48.
And you put 2 pounds.
And you
can
put
double that seed. You can double that
I'd go
rate.
10 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
10,
but
15,
what I'm gonna do,
you know.
and what he's fixing to tell these people, one and done ain't the way to do it.
Right.
If you want to plant a blend, look, I plant a blend, but I make my own. But I plant a blend of cereals and clovers that I pick, but I put them out 2 different ways. Sometimes I won't even drill them. I'll put the grains out, and then I come back over it, and Moultrie sells them for $129. He sits right on the front of that 4-wheeler, and you can put every one of them clovers
Oh, yeah.
right over the top. After you've done put your grain in and section hair it if that's your choice, or disc it in, and then come right back over top and let the rain put the rest down.
That's right. And that's what I recommend a lot of times with my landowners, you know. And I've seen all kind of scenarios. You know, my property count at this point is over 500, you know, from the coastal plains to the Lurch Hills to the Delta. Ideally, you know, you're going to have a better food plot if you put them at the right depth. Now, if you're disking and broadcasting, disc, throw out your big seeds, harrow that, cover it, and then go right on top, hand spreader, ATV, Moultrie spreader.
With your rape or your or any of your other stuff, small seeds,
your
put 'em
small clover seeds, you're going to have a much better outcome long term. You're going to have those grains for attraction, and now you're going to have a lot more of your clovers for nutrition, late season attraction, things
Well,
like that.
they've got a chance to grow. Now, and I'm doing that because the majority of the people that we deal with, I don't know about you, don't have a grain drill.
That's right.
I do
Don't
have
have
one.
grain.
I do because I have a food plot business.
Yeah.
So I have a grain drill. Think about this. And I got certain my clients, that's all they want to plant. They want to plant. I'm gonna list a name. They may all they want to plant is biologic. They may want to plant Tecumani. They may want to plant Buckbuster. They may want to plant whatever they like.
5-way.
5-way, 7-way, 10-way.
Yeah.
How am I going to drill it when it's all in the same bag?
Exactly. You can't. Or
I would rather what you said earlier.
Yeah.
You got to give me that clover and let me put it in a small box, and I'll unhook it and drop where it drops out on top. But when you put it in the same bag, I've got that sucker set for an inch.
Yep. Yep.
What am I doing with 85% of that seed? Is going to be what?
Just
Too
waste-
deep.
Too deep.
Yep. Too deep.
Yeah. And people don't think, even people that run drills all the time, you don't think about when you buy all this these mixes, drilling them.
So
Dude, it's a nightmare.
So that's what because drilling is definitely getting a lot more popular.
Yes, and people do it, and I
especially in
love it.
And so what I tell landowners that are willing or able to buy a drill, I say, if you're going to spend that money, get one with clover box on it.
Ain't no doubt.
I
use mine all the time.
If not, they make that ATV seeder, hand seeders. I
use
do
it
that.
too. I
Top
use it
sow it out.
Top sow it.
Some of my Balenza. Now Balenza's real tiny. A lot of times I do my blends. I drill my other stuff in, and I'll come back and top sow. Especially Durana, Ladino. When you start paying $150 and $60 a bag for this stuff, I want to know where it's going.
Yeah.
And I want to know that landowner that invests, that. Now I told you that one clover I bought that I'm gonna try, everlasting, and $300 a bag. Okay, it's a you need to know where it's at. You dang sure need to bury it too deep. Because you think about this. Everybody that's listening to this podcast is pretty intelligent, I would figure, I hope. You disc a field up, and it's got even a clod that big. When the rain melts it, and that seed's up under it, and the rain melts it, it's done covered it that deep. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it's...
Oh, yeah, and it definitely depends on your soil and the equipment you use.
Yes.
So, if people have a tiller,
Yeah.
you put out a tiller, or you go and you get that real fine, especially if you have
That
like
sandy loam
silt
stuff.
loam
Yeah.
or sandy
Yeah.
loam, and it's real fluffy.
Yeah.
Even if you put that clover seed right on top of that, that rain hits it, it's going to compact down.
Yeah.
Probably half an inch.
Yeah.
At that, that's one reason not as big on a tiller compared to a disc for that reason, or like a drill. You get ideal depth. Now, if you have a cultipacker in that situation with a tiller,
yes,
you can throw your big seed out, cultipack, and then on that firm seed bed, lay that small seed on top.
That's right. And let the rain beat it in.
That's right.
And I know a lot of people that cultipack twice. Now they probably got more time, and they, you can't. I just want people, our listeners, work hard for their money, and they buying these. I mean, a lot of them are buying these $30 and $40.
Yeah. So let's talk about maybe the other variable, because on past podcasts we've talked about these blends, and even referred to them as the seed company's insurance policy. Because if you put enough things in there, something's going to come up. Something will make a green.
Something will rise to the top.
So you've already named, just in this conversation, we've talked about some factors, whether it's planting depth. You mentioned rain, if you've got rain coming, the method by which you put it out. So that seed company, not knowing any of those factors, what it's going to be,
and who's going to be buying it?
They gotta
that's what I'm
compensate for
saying.
that.
So you're compensating. So it's almost like a hedge. They're hedging that, and what they put in that bag.
Something's going to work.
Something will create. Something will go green.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we brought that up in the podcast a little bit, taking a jab at the seed company as their insurance policy. You're buying their insurance policy, but I think the other side of that is the guy that goes out and does that. He's something's going to turn green. Maybe that's his insurance policy too. That something's going to succeed.
So I'll give an example, and I won't name the blend or the seed company, but there's a blend out there with a lot of good seeds. I like it. Good percentages I like. But the big seeds and small seeds are all together. Now you look at their seeding rate. When I look at the pounds per acre that they're really recommending for that blend, it's really double of what I would recommend if those seeds were separate. But they're hedging their bet. So if someone goes out there and disc and they're just throwing it on top, well, they've got double the rate of big seed, and a bunch of birds come in and eat it, and they're going to get a little bit something growing. The small seeds are definitely going to look better. If they cover it, a lot of small seeds, some of them are going to make it to the top. That big seed's going to look great.
Yep.
Now you're still paying for twice the amount of seed than if you went and bought it, in a brown paper bag.
Yeah.
But regardless of how it gets put in, that there's a big wide range of factors that affect how it gets buried and put in. So something's going to succeed.
Something's going to succeed. Now what succeeds kind of depends on what the wildlife are benefiting from that. So if those grains are coming up good, well, that's good attraction, but you're cutting them short on nutrition part.
Yeah.
Even some of those clovers that are going to make it to the top, even if they have double the rate in that, there's still not going to be a large percentage of high quality stuff. You're going to have a lot of nutrition. On the flip side, if it's more nutrition, well, those grains are going to be depredated on by birds and stuff like that. So now it's less attractive during deer season. So it's kind of a balancing act, where if you do those separately, take a little extra time. If you want both the attraction and nutrition, it is going to take a little more time to do that.
Yeah. All right. So, and a lot of these blends have white clovers and red clovers, and all of them mixed in an annual field. So you're paying that sticker price. So if you're going to plant white clover, plant it as a perennial field, and so you can manage it. You not agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
All white clover. We could list 10 names white clover.
Yeah. So white clover being a perennial, it takes about 3-4 months to establish that root.
Right.
Being a perennial, it's not going to be attractive.
Right.
It's not going to be putting on a lot of forage and stuff.
Not a lot of eating, not a lot of groceries November, December, January.
That's right. Not until spring when it's got itself established, it's going to blow it. I've always seen, and I've heard landowners agree with this too, the second deer season, if you baby that, you spray the weeds off of it in the spring and the summer.
It gets some height to it,
And now it's established. Deer, especially early season, early fall, when we start getting those first rains on it and it starts coming back, the deer are much more attractive to it. But you got, it's an investment plot.
It is.
You got to maintain it.
And you got to spray it.
Yeah.
You got to spray it. It ain't just mowing. You better spray it. And we've already talked about our spray. And I like to drill 40, 50 pounds of wheat in it every year.
Sure.
And I've got some I showed you that were 9, 10 years old.
That's right.
It worked great. Now, I want to talk about an annual mix. I mean, you talked about it.
Yeah.
You've done some good research. Mitt's done some. I've done some. So with your wheat or your oats or your rye, grain, whatever, but we're putting red clover has been a pretty hot item.
I like red clover.
So we use
and a lot of people confuse that with crimson. We're not talking about crimson.
And crimson and red is not the same.
It's different. It's got a pink. Red's got a pink clover. It's technically a short-lived perennial or a biannual.
Yep.
But you can treat it like an annual.
But those two can be mixed good. Crimson and red can be mixed because.
And white clover and red can be mixed. Yep.
When one starts playing out, the other one's coming up. That's so right. What I like about the Q red clover, and I got some dynamite too, and dynamite also. What I like about the red clover, okay, and I'm not being partial to Rissa, but we do that research for her, and she wants to know, hey, what's good down here and what's not.
Yeah, that's Go Seed.
That Go Seed,
Rissa, that's Go Seed company.
Balenza, Fixation Balenza. That was my great go-to in my wetter sites, and I still plant it. Yep. I love it. But this red, this Q or dynamite red clover, so what it's doing, it ain't doing crap. November, December, January. It ain't nothing. They can't even lip it.
Right.
But what it does, we just looked at some, and we're in September, almost the middle of September.
Yeah, September.
And we just, me and you just,
September 11th.
Me and you just looked at some. Yeah. I got some flowering out there right now.
Yeah.
So what that stuff has done all summer long, it has been there. And for that guy that only has 80 acres, but he wants to feed his deer, but he don't want to go through planting vetch and doing all this other. He could put some of that red clover in his mix.
Yep. And
if he didn't spray it or not, it's coming.
It'll hang around. It'll be the last thing standing right before you replant it the next.
Yes. Yeah. So you're really not cleaning the table.
I was out with Mitt this week.
Yeah.
And he's planting like
wheat,
100 pounds of wheat and 20 pounds of
crimson
and 10 pounds of red.
Yep.
And so that's getting you get the cereal grain, you get the crimson pops out pretty quick.
Crimson is faster during
crimson pretty quick.
The hunting season.
Crimson is senescing and playing out. The red's coming on behind it. So you're feeding deer off of fall planting all the way into August.
So one mix I like wheat and oats together.
Okay.
As my grain, they've shown that at MSU. As far as palatability and usage,
they like those.
They like those. In most places, that's my main grain I'm thinking about. And then with my annual clovers, I like the crimson. if it's a wetter area, maybe a little bit of Balanza. Now you don't want to put too much Balanza.
Yeah, it can go.
You know, especially in a wet spot.
Balenza is uncontrollable as far as its appetite. I mean, when it grows, they love it. They love it. And I tell people, don't plant it where your turkeys like to be.
Right.
It's too high.
It's high.
But there is a spot in it, because every hunting club I know's got an old wet field, got old bottom field, old flood field. One thing about the fixation Balenza, remember, fixation Balenza is it flooded it. Was it 12 or 17 times? One of the two.
Here?
Yes.
There's a lot.
I flooded. Well, I know. We get where it went underwater.
Yeah.
Still made a crop.
Still made a crop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's another one that you can put in.
You can you can still put it on higher sites. I have before.
Yeah.
They don't use it as much on higher ground. Air leaf and then that red. I like medium red. I don't have as much experience with Q. I've heard a lot of good things about Q and
Q is actually listen. Here's the deal. Q is a medium red, but you can spray 2,4-D on it.
That's right.
So if you got a bunch of crap, pigweeds, and horse niddle and bad stuff in your plots, let me tell you something. Yeah, 2,4-D will smoke it all.
Smoke it. Yeah.
And not hurt the Q.
And not hurt the Q.
Not hurt the Q. So with that mix, well, now we know through maturity dates and some research, buffet style usage research and stuff. Oats, they're going to get that usage in November, peak in usage.
Yep.
December, January is your wheat. January, February, your crimson. You know, a lot of times that Balanza, I've always seen they use it a lot more in like April time frame.
They do. It plays out in about the 1st of June. May 26th to the 1st of June, it's gone.
Yeah, but it's really peaking, or at least what I've seen in a lot of places, and that's upland and bottomland areas. April is kind of when they like to really eat it.
Yeah.
That air leaf, May, June, and then that red, the last thing standing, is going to, like we said, right now, August, September, it's right there before you go and replant that.
And in the South, that's a big void. That's a big hole in that because everything is you're dry.
Well, a lot of your natural browse is mature.
That's right.
Matured.
Yeah.
And so that's a gap in there.
Yeah.
That you can feel.
Well, your goldenrods, your ragweeds, all that stuff is already seeding out.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially now in September, you know that. Especially through August, it's starting to senesce and get more fibrous and stuff like that. Also, you know, your white clover is going to go dormant.
You're right.
We talked about that.
I've had it around 10 years down here, but when it's hot and dry, it's gone.
Yep. Yeah.
But now it's just sitting there waiting. Like you said, cool weather, little rain, it's coming back.
And that's why I like that red with some white. You know, for when it goes dormant, you can have a little bit in there.
Yep.
Now, if I want, you know, real good attraction and tonnage for the deer in this late summer stress period, I like a little bit of summer annuals, like we know American Joint Vetch, my favorite.
You just saw some down there. So what I'm trying to do, Pierce, and I'll let you know, this will be my first year of the study, but I planted all my roadsides American Joint Vetch. I planted 2 big fields. So I planted about 10 acres of American Joint Vetch.
Yeah.
Some of it mixed with some white clover. Some of it mixed with some red clover, okay? Just put it in there, broadcast it. It's growing strong. And if I get the red clover to go, then I don't have to fight the soybeans. I don't have to fight the others. I can grow the soybeans for grain, and I can grow the corn for grain. I don't have to worry about it because I've got them something to eat.
That's right.
Year round. And the stuff I showed you looked like $1 million, right?
Oh, yeah.
Planted with a 4-wheeler and a spreader.
Yep.
Didn't even disc it, didn't drill it, didn't cover it up. I spread it 15 or 20 pounds an acre, and I mowed the stuff on top of it.
Yep.
That's a Bronson Strickland move, but it works like $1 million.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like mowing, throwing it on top, you know.
Because it's little bitty seed.
It's little bitty seed. It's like a clover.
It is. It is.
And you can treat it, I mean, even the herbicide, you can treat it like clover. It's good food. I mean, it's producing 10,000.
That's a bunch of them, ain't it, Brent?
8,000, 10,000 pounds per acre a month. You know, so if you got 10 acres, I mean, by the time if you're leaving it for the frost, I mean, that's hundreds of thousands of pounds of food, and price per acre rate is about the same as like a forage soybean. I won't say any, you know, some of those more expensive names, but you know, in a lot of places, especially Central Mississippi where I work in this area of the state too, you can't get away with doing forage soybeans, or sometimes not even cowpeas.
If you don't fence them, they're gonna smoke them.
Gonna smoke them.
Yeah,
That's
you got to fence
hard to
them.
get them established.
You got to fence them, and it takes some time to check that fence. I put this fence up once a week. You can see where one ran through it, looked like Freebird. I mean, he just smoked it. Look, the wire's out there 50 foot. I got to go back down tomorrow and fence it.
Yeah.
But you know, and just getting to this, and not to beat a dog down. The mix you just said, love it. These mixes are good, but you can't control it. You can't control the depth. Planting depth is a main failure. Okay, planting depth is a main failure. Almost worse than not getting rain, because I mean you sits there, and
rain's a factor. If you don't cover that seed, especially I know people that have been planting. It's been 94 degrees this week.
It's too hot.
If that seed is sitting on the ground,
Yes.
I mean you're gonna have less and less that seed.
I tell everybody, the germination is so much better in that bag than sitting in that ground. I mean, really. And I've got I'm ready to plant around 100 acres right now. I've got everything sprayed, mowed, and I've just got the drill sitting. I just cannot justify putting that seed in the ground and knowing it may not have rain for 20 days.
So and to that point too, you don't have to. You know why? You already got white clover out there. You got red clover. You got joint fish.
Bitch, that's right.
That's
I've
what
got
I recommend.
other things that they can eat.
And I tell people, even if you don't have a seed drill, if you designate spots, you know, to winter annuals, perennials, summer annuals, that way it's almost like if you had 3 different plates sitting here, and there's food on one plate. I start eating on it before I finish eating off of that one plate. There's food on the next plate.
Yeah, the second course.
Yeah. Second course. And then to the next one. So going into hunting season, you get some rain. That white clover is going to be popping back. You got the joint fish going, you know, and you don't have to plant right now. You could wait till the end of October.
I planted some good plots in October.
Yeah.
You know.
And that goes to the point, and this is a little bit of a sidetrack, but when you're doing all these other things, like the hack and squirt you implemented this year, burning some dormant season,
Yes.
even some early growing season burns, that gets you a little bit of good succulent stuff.
Gives me
at
some
the time of
bites.
year. That's
Give me
right.
some bites off in the
But
fields.
when
Yeah.
you're doing that, you're not living and dying by the annual fall food plot.
Right.
And so not only in this situation when it's dry this time of year, but also in the situation like we had a few years ago with that big freeze
Oh,
killed
yeah.
by stuff.
Oh, yeah.
If you're doing all these
Yeah.
other things, that doesn't impact you as bad.
That's right.
Your risk is less.
Yes.
On the
And
food plot.
food plots are supplemental. I mean, they are supplemental planting, you know. Deer and research on some of the stuff we did in South Texas with some of the research we showed is they can't process a lot of that high protein foods if they don't have that native stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, Mariah Bogus. We were talking one day, and he dove into this one day at lunch, and I was just like, "What?" I never blew my mind, but you can have all that protein out there. It's not necessarily additive if you don't
right.
have all these other things that help them process and digest.
That's right.
You
I mean,
yeah, that's exactly what good
in
point. you made.
January, February, 70% of their diet is not food plots. It's browse.
Yeah.
And if they're eating poor browse and they're having trouble processing that browse, all that good clover seed or clover plant,
yeah.
or if you have protein feed, that doesn't matter as much because they're spending all that energy processing that poor quality browse.
Yeah.
You know, they need the best.
That makes
browse.
a lot of sense.
Yeah.
To say that much, even in January, February. And then, look, once green away, and we're going to bring these up just because Brent put them out there, but that's what I picked up today.
That's some big.
Yeah.
And they just, but everybody loves that. Give me a little take on acorns.
Yeah, so
A little candy for them for a couple months.
little candy. I think there's going to be a lot of upset hunters in Mississippi this year.
Really?
Just because everywhere I've been, North Mississippi, South Mississippi, Central Mississippi, Delta, if it can produce a nut or fruit, it has done it this year.
You got that right. All your sawtooths are loaded.
Sawtooths,
white
whites,
oaks.
reds, persimmon trees.
I picked these up, and I was talking to Brent. I was flagging a line on track timber. These trees probably not going to be standing in the next 2 weeks. But I'm just saying that.
Just the fact, the Grim
It's
Reaper.
the fact,
right
yeah.
there.
That big fella bunch is finna smoke down on them. But we got a mass crop. so this is another thing. Don't be too rushed to plant your food plot. If they're going to hit these early, you got time. I mean, you got some time.
I was looking at a track yesterday.
You know, you got some time.
That I want to list, and I sent Dudley some pictures. They had planted on this property. They planted a bunch of oaks, and they're nut alls.
Are they making?
I was looking at, man, they're loaded.
Loaded. That's awesome. How big of trees are they? So they're pretty good size.
Yeah.
So they're 20 years old.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're 20, 30 years old.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, we're talking a lot about food plots, but you may be trying to find a hot oak tree or persimmon tree most of the season this year in Mississippi. At least,
Well, I mean, it goes back to what we've always said. The tools in the toolbox of nutrition.
That's right.
If you don't, some people, you don't have nothing but pine plantations. So you've got to lean on burning, spraying, habitat.
Yep.
If you do have some hardwoods, don't lean heavily on acorns, because by last year, we didn't even have an acorn.
None last year.
Then you got to lean heavily on that corn feeder. Don't sit in front of Pierce now. He get all jacked up about corn. But you know what I mean. And look, Pierce, let's say it like it is. You already know this. How many tracks have you been on that's got a feeder? Percentage-wise. Just say percentage. 85%?
Nowadays, most of them.
100%.
Yeah, even people that, I would say most of the properties I go to
have a feeder.
Have a feeder, and most of them don't even want it. They're just
they just need
it's corn war, competing with their neighbor.
And listen, hey, believe me, it is a war.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can plant the best food plots in the world and have them.
Yeah.
But that 10 acres, that big pile of corn.
Yeah. Corn's undefeated.
It's undefeated.
Yeah.
That's something we ain't gonna get into.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, I feel like we've got most of our listeners in two different camps. There are guys that are going to be very particular about this, and they were already putting together their own blend for all the reasons we talked about.
Maybe.
Right.
There's a lot of people who have that weekend, who have travel ball, who have all these other obligations. They're working a shift at a mill, swing
That's
shift.
right. They have a limited amount
and
of time.
that blend, all those things we just said, is some unnecessary things in there. You're overpaying for some things, but it's that insurance policy goes both ways.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because it's an insurance policy for them with limited
And
amount
if
of
it's
time,
planted right,
limited equipment.
If it's planted right, you got 10 different products out there that they eat.
If they put it out there, all those variables we just named, if they get it a little too deep, or they don't get it quite deep enough, or if it's a little shallow, I won't say not deep enough. If all these factors, the insurance policy we talked about for the seed company also applies to that guy too. So there's a place for a blend in the real world, and we can analyze the data and say there is a better way.
We all plant blends a certain time.
That's right.
And it all depends on people's goals, what they're trying to do, their limitations.
Look, if they got 2 green fields and they got 80 acres,
they want
or 40 acres,
something green.
They want to see something green, and they got a 7-year-old and a 11-year-old. They want them to set it and fire it down.
When
they
post that food opening day, when they post that food plot picture from the shooting house, they don't want to hear their buddies him-hawing about how bad
the food plot looks. Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Because that's a big part of it. That food plot succeeding is as much a part of that hunting year as that deer may be. For a lot of people.
And we've looked into this a lot. Every time we survey our landowners, the number one limiting factor is time. Number 2, money.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Time is
time is the most valuable.
Everybody's
resource
trying to get your time.
Yeah. And so what we try to do is we're almost efficiency managers with a lot of these properties too. So if you've got 30 acres, we don't want you trying to plant all 30 acres right now. Right?
In an annual.
So that's where you can break it up into some perennials, some summer stuff. And
that's all you got to do is put a spray rig on in.
Yeah. Put a spray. So you're spraying at a different time. You're planting your summer stuff at a different time. You're planting. So if you have 30 acres, well, now you've just cut that down to 10 acres. If you got 3 acres.
But it's diversification.
So you're hitting all of those factors, and you're saving yourself time.
Yeah.
You're being a lot more efficient. And so with that time you have, now you can, afford to spend a little extra time, on that fall blend when you're not trying to do all 100% of your acres, in food plots every single fall. Well,
and what I'm seeing, look, I'm getting calls every year. People want me to plant. So I have to stop it at a certain level. I have to. Look, and you can ask Brent, I don't like turning no money down. I mean, I work all night, but I can only get so many in that window. Mm-hmm. And when you're planting a food plot for a landowner, he's the biggest ridicule.
Yeah.
Is you if the field don't look good.
That's
It's
right.
because you planted. It ain't because it ain't rain. So I've got to plant good seeds.
That's right.
That are going to show some
Yeah.
It can't fail.
green. Can't
right.
fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what I do, which I drill them all, but I plant good strong grains, 100 pounds per acre, and I let them. Sometimes they choose what they want. I do have to use some of these mixes but they buy it. I don't care.
Sure.
I just plant it the best way I can. I tell them.
And we got friends that make mixes.
Yeah, I know that's right.
Yeah.
No.
Same
But
here.
it's hard to put them out, and I'm a drill, and I tell them. I said, look now, I do got the 4-wheeler. Let me put the clover. Let me do this. I break this down to them. I said, let me plant the wheat, the oats, and the rye, Elbine rye grain. Let me drill it, and then let me put your clover on top, and you'll be so happy with it.
That's right.
And and most of them will listen, okay. Mm-hmm. Unless somebody gives them a bunch of free seed or something,
Well,
But anyway, it's a time and a place for everything. But look, if there's 26 of them, it's pretty hot.
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah. And I was looking through it. Several of them are the same.
Yes.
And that's good.
Yes.
Several brands have
Different
that.
names.
Look, that
Yeah.
cocktail of wheat, oats, and grain rye. That's a popular. That's one you see on a lot of them. And that's
I mean,
good.
it goes back
That's $17.50 a bag.
Yep. That's the
So
way.
if you planted 100 pounds like you're $34 on
Yeah.
but
and you didn't have a lot of extra things you paid for. They're gonna
Yes.
fail if you plant these things at the
Yes,
right depth.
that's
That's a big takeaway, I think.
And so one takeaway that I learned today too is you go back to that study you were talking about in the 80s with G.D. Jones and all.
and Danny Hartley.
What did they plant? Wheat and crimson clover.
That's right.
And then followed white. Those are still
Staples.
Still here,
staples.
30 years later.
I still recommend those more than most things. you know?
And
it just goes
and
to that.
in the 90s, 95, when I was working with Tim Brooks and them on the wildlife, on the mitigation lands, on the Tom Bigby, summer plots was no one did that.
Yeah.
Only summer plots as the farmer got his soybeans ate. But Tim was going to wax seed up in Namery. Wax is a pretty cool seed. And they were blending their own stuff. And Tim and them was even pouring like Dr. Pepper and stuff on them to seed coatings and try. Oh yeah, it was pretty. But they were blending their own. And I got to plant stuff up that divide section up there. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was one of my jobs. I was over a contractor that was planting food plots, and we planted peas and we planted a big mix. Mm-hmm. Now one thing about the Corps, they wasn't just planting for white-tailed deer. They were trying to do for turkeys.
Yeah.
Songbirds, whatever, bluebirds, everything.
Yeah.
And they would plant grain sorghum. They would plant peas. They would plant. They plant a really sunflowers extensive. But that was the first summer mixes.
Oh yeah.
That was in the early. That was about 95. But Tim Brooks and them kind of put.
So
me
that's
on all
another
that.
good point you mentioned too. Is we're talking a lot about deer, but turkey management's getting way more popular. Than
Ain't no
it
doubt
was
because they're
even 10
scarce. They're scarce.
And so if you want to plant food plots for turkeys, you got to lean heavy on those clovers. You need those
anything
clovers
bugging
to
areas.
succeed. You can't just have a mix like that and have very few clovers.
No, that's right.
The
clover's got to be in there for the babies, bugging, the older ones,
And
insects, and turkeys love clover.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've shot turkeys.
That
crop
crop
will
be
be
full of clover. You can't put another piece of clover in it.
Yeah, and some of those intentionally putting them where those grains are going to go to seed too. When you start thinking about the fall planting, serving turkeys in the
especially
spring.
that hen coming off the nest, she needs a lot of energy. She's
Yep.
been sitting there for
Yeah.
3 weeks, having some
You
grain.
take
But I'm
some
telling
of
y'all,
that
people,
grain to
and-
head
and-
to seed with some white clover.
That's right.
Look, don't listen to me, but listen to the guy that does this for a living, and you can listen to me too.
Oh yeah.
But a lot of times those
You
Brassicas, those rapes,
walked that back
I
real
got
quick,
walked
didn't
back
you?
in there, yeah. But
It's a
Man.
podcast. We need them to listen to you.
one bite, and it's over. And we've named a couple products.
So
Wild winter peas,
Yeah.
rapes and stuff. If they get hit early,
all right, so
You
let's
out.
talk about that. Let me pose y'all a question because I ask a lot of my landowners this, and I get all different answers on brassicas,
Okay.
turnips,
Okay.
radishes, all those. What is y'all's? Because, and I'll tell you my experience. Like I said, I've seen 500 different properties. I've heard a lot of different opinions on these. I know my opinion on the brassicas.
Sure.
What have y'all seen with brassicas as far as for
Preference as far as
Deer preference or growing?
deer preference, growing, success of it? Is it worth it?
Okay.
To y'all, have y'all seen that it's worth it?
Would I plant a solid brassica field? No.
Yeah.
If I had to plant a solid brassica field, I'd try to plant it in September, as early as I can.
Yeah.
'Cause if
August 15th.
Yes. If it doesn't, or August or September, whenever I could see a rain.
get away with getting it over
Rain,
here.
because if it does not have a good, strong root system, it will not regrow the pressure that a deer puts on it.
That's right.
He'll also, if you notice this, a deer's not a biter like a person. They're a puller.
Yeah.
Deer's a puller.
Yeah. They don't have upper.
They don't have, so they don't bite it and
rip.
tear it, so they pull it. So if you don't have a strong root system, when they bite it and pull it,
It's over.
it's down.
Especially
and
early
nobody
season.
looks at that, but I watch them, and I notice me being a drill, instead of a broadcast was thrown all over, they walk right down the row, and you'll see, well, dang, that dang wheat and stuff didn't come up. Well, yeah, it did, but it's in that deer's mouth, and he hit it fast enough that he got
Ripping
it. Yeah. So a lot of times I'll plant some things, like one thing about Belenza's heavy reseeder. So when I'm on my ones that I set aside for Belenza, I drill stuff through it. That Belenza comes back and fills in the gaps. But yes, but deer are pullers.
Yeah.
And nobody calls them that because it's not, but they are. They pull.
That's right.
And if you ever watch one eat, they're pulling at it.
Yeah.
They'll pull it right out of the damn ground.
Yeah.
And then you're gone. So, but getting on that, do they like it? Yeah, I think so. They like, but how about
Certain
this?
times.
They like 400 different species of plants in the state of Mississippi.
Well,
Okay.
like Bronson pointed out, and I've heard other people say it about brassicas, is it's not natural. Like I forget the term he used, but they see, like they have to eat it first and then figure out that it's okay. So that a lot of people will
say, do they
plant
like it?
A lot of people will plant it like the first year. It may not get eaten and they quit. This is terrible. But I think Bronson and some of the even like Biologic with their product, they'll tell you like stick with it. Like they may not they may not even know. They may not eat it that first year. You may not see a preference the first year, but that they will.
Yeah.
And
once they learn they can eat it and it's good, that they will utilize.
And your good farms down south, Central Mississippi, it don't matter what you put out there, they're gonna eat it.
Yeah.
Because there's so many of them. And mine here, they're going to eat what I plant for them. And if it's good soil, good fertilized, they're going to eat it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, would I rather plant wheat or them? Wheat.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean,
So
looks good.
What I've seen, if you're adding in pound per acre rate with a mix, no problem with that.
It's cheap. It's cheap. 50 cents a pound.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
What's it matter?
Where I've seen it actually work is in some of those better, deeper, richer soils.
Plant
South
early.
Delta. Plant it early. In those good soils that are holding more moisture that early, season and stuff like that.
But they're a little tricky. They would rather be planted on an upland site, and they're a little funny. If you think you ever seen your daddy plant a turnip patch, he plants it on a little higher site, and then on a wetter site, it kind of plays out and they rot.
When they're mature.
They're mature, they'll rot real bad. But I'm gonna have you a good study because you're gonna. I just told you I'm gonna have 5 acres of winter peas, 3 different kinds, and WMS's brassica mix, and we're drilling it and we're leaving the fence up 45 days. We're gonna let them get big.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna take it down and see what they
See
do.
what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I've seen
That would be cool to know.
they're the most variable plant species for.
But they're
as far
popular.
as usage.
Yeah.
I've been to properties say they'll never plant them again. I've been to properties say they love. I've been on some where I've seen it where on one end of the property they annihilated them, and on the other end of the property they didn't touch them. Different soils, different. Now, one reason I don't like to recommend a lot of them together with the blend is
They'll choke them out.
They'll choke other stuff out, especially clover.
Big leaf shade 'em.
Big
Yeah.
leaf. It's almost like with forestry. You got a big canopy
Well, you
shading a lot
plant
of
pine
other
trees
stuff
on
out.
7x7, then you plant them on a 10x10.
Yeah, they like to be planted by themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and they take a lot out of the soil
they-
too.
Or you
Beat
knock
for
your
nutrients,
rate.
too.
You knock
Not
your
just the shade.
rate down. Knock your rate a little 3 pounds. Don't run put 10, 15 pounds. 'Cause
Right.
then-
Exactly.
But if deer hit them fast, then you ain't worry about it because they ain't coming back.
Yeah.
Is there
It's getting
anything
done.
to like brassicas and I've heard it with turnips and all those things that they prefer them after a frost or after a freeze?
So
So
it's
they're
more.
trying to prove
science
that they
behind
don't.
that?
Yeah.
They prove that they don't. It's more about if it matures, and then when it gets cold and they need a lot of energy, then they go eat it.
They'll
and then,
go eat it.
But then when that happens, a lot of times they'll eat them all up.
Yeah.
You know, and,
Yeah.
and they're gone because a lot of times those will, it takes so long to mature. It gets into those colder temperatures.
So it just happens to be that's when they hit them. They matured, and that's cold weather made.
They keep talking about the sugar content comes
Yeah,
up.
so that might just be-
But they're saying now
Correlation,
that's proven
maybe
that's
not causation.
That's not true.
Yeah.
But it's more like the maturity. So they like to be planted earlier time, August in Mississippi time
Yes.
frame, and the deer will eat them when they are. So, but if you're planting them in October, they might not mature to the point where deer like to eat them.
Well, the frost's gonna get them too.
Yeah, until much later.
And I've noticed if they don't have a good established root system, that cold weather,
He's shaking that pen.
yeah. Well, I'm telling you, you got to learn about these. But look, they got to be popular. 13 of the 26 mixes got them in it. But let me tell you why they got them in it. It's cheap.
Yeah, sure.
They're cheap. They're 50 cents a pound.
It's kind of like back in the day, ryegrass when it was a lot cheaper. You know,
Yeah.
something to grow, green, something
Wet ground,
look good.
rough to get to.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
So-
it would work. It would pop up and turn
Yeah.
green.
And who wouldn't like to go out to the food plot and see these big leafy plants? You know, I mean,
No, it looks good.
it looks good.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, look, I still remember those early biologic commercials.
Oh,
that,
my
that
God.
big deer was gnawing on one. That big leaf
And
a
it was hanging out of his mouth. He was chewing it all the way up.
That's the same.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And you look at that, and a guy says, "I want it to look like a magazine." I said, "Let me tell you this: if it looks like a magazine, you ain't got no deer."
You don't have yeah.
And he looked at me and said, "I never thought about it that way." But I said, "They're not going to let it get out of hand
right.
unless you got so much food. You know, you want it to get out of hand because that means
Mm-hmm.
you're shooting your does down and you got plenty of food. But I don't know.
right.
But look, you do it every day. You're doing it for 500 different people. I'm doing it for 7 different people. I mean, we're doing it every day.
Yeah.
You're not. One thing good about you, you're not doing it out of a book saying this is what you need to do.
Right.
You're seeing and you ask landowners because I do too. I want to know what you're using. I want to know because I'm always looking for the next. There's no magic bullet
Right.
in deer food plots.
There may be one name that they got 7-card stud and top shelf. I'm telling
Look,
you,
man,
the marketing behind
we
some
got
of that.
Oh, yeah.
we got Genesis, Ignite, Dixie, Lazy. That may be that guy,
Like the seven
travel ball
doors.
guy. Yeah. Trophy.
I was going to say I work with all those people except Trophy,
SEC, that means you can plant it in at least 7 different states.
not Alabama.
Not Alabama, because they only plant one thing over there. And
Trophies.
yeah, and then like national championship trophies. Yeah, that's right. I don't know. It's cool to. I get on him about it. I'll take like the other day at like 11 o'clock at night. I sent him a picture.
Yeah.
7-card stud.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What the hell?"
With no context.
Yeah,
Just a picture of
just a
Foodplot
picture.
bag.
Oh yeah.
So, but it had a nice buck on the bag.
Yeah.
You don't
Oh,
ever
yeah.
see a 3-point or a 6-point on the bag.
Well, it's management bucks. You know,
We could call it the management blend.
the management plan.
Yeah, I don't know.
Coal blend.
Well, look, that's the only one I've ever heard on Breaking Down one, and
Yeah.
what you take it at. We're not hating on any.
Sure.
Dude, you plant what you want to plant. If you want to plant $56, but if you want to, but plant it right.
Yeah. Every situation is
Depth.
different. No,
Depth.
soul's different. You know.
I think we can all agree at this table at this. Your site prep of your field is going to make up your how good your plot's going to be.
Yeah. And
If
matching
you
the
have,
seed to the
but
site.
if you have Cadillac, do it.
Yeah.
You're going to have a calf Cadillac deer field. You might as well go get you a bag of ryegrass, throw it on there, and you got green.
But
if
that
you're going to do that
also-
site right,
Yeah.
Right.
then I think you can really make these things explode.
Yeah. And that also applies to not just the blend, or that applies to doing your own.
And we go
You
back.
do want to do it right. Site prep.
We go back to hey, spray early, get your fields ready. I told some landowners the other day, said, man, I ain't gonna play Thursday. I said, but go ahead and get them ready. Get everything ready. Get it burned down. If you want to run your disc, get it disced, get it section haired, get it ready. So when you see a tropical storm, or you see an 85% chance of rain, a front coming, you plant, you're done.
That's right.
The
And
problem
go ahead and
is,
get your seed
the problem
too.
is you see that 80% chance coming on Thursday. You jump in there on Tuesday. Guess what? You run out of time.
Yeah.
Then you
Go ahead.
then you're under the gun and you half butt it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get your seed also. Go ahead and get
I
your
got
seed.
every
Don't-
mine-
don't
every bit of
run to
mine
the
set-
co-op
That's
that
right.
Friday before. It's supposed
Yeah.
to rain Sunday.
When everybody's done loaded
There's gonna be a
up,
line.
and then you up there you headed to Lowe's.
Yeah,
to see
well,
if
the
they
only thing I got
anything.
left is one bag of $56.
Yeah, that's what they got left. Hey, you got any wheat? No, but I got this $56.
It's good.
Yeah, $1.17.
Got a drop time on the
Yeah.
bag.
But now look, if you flip the bag around, it's got a target you can shoot sight your gun in. Hell, I'll take it. Give me 5 bags. But anyway, that's good. And Pierce, I appreciate you. I ain't said this. I ain't said this, but I'm proud of what you've done
Oh, I appreciate
in
it.
your life.
Yeah.
Your daddy carried you hunting ever since you was a little kid. I won't go back on how good a daddy you got. I got a good daddy. You got a good daddy. When yours carried you hunting, I didn't have a daddy to carry me hunting because he didn't have that resource. But Mark spent that time, he put that fire in you,
That's right.
and you never let it go, and that's what you do for a living.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Love it.
It's
That's
the
American
best thing in
dream,
the world.
man.
Now-
I mean, really, it's
Yeah.
awesome, and I'm proud of what you've done. And every time I see you on I don't do Facebook, but every time I see you on these reels that stick out there, it makes me proud
I
to
appreciate it.
know that I work with you on that. And,
Yeah.
and
Well,
it's just, I'm telling you, it's a great deal.
I appreciate it. Well, I enjoy it. I mean, this is what I'm passionate about. I get to come have these conversations, these properties like this, all over the place.
Well, I can tell you what, you soak it in, and you're very, very intelligent.
Appreciate it.
And that's good for that person listening. We got this kind of intelligence for free.
And it's dedicated to private land.
That's what I'm talking
I
about.
mean,
Yes.
there's a
Right.
big value in that, because
Yes.
there's public land
Yes.
biologists and all this public land tracts. But
Yes.
again, I said it on the earlier podcast we did. I appreciate that there's an emphasis and there's a recognition that
That's
to
why I
manage
love-
these species, you got to do it through private land.
Oh yeah, and we said it on the other podcast, and if someone didn't listen to it, I'll say it again. In Mississippi, we have a free resource, wildlife consultants through the private lands program through MDWFP. Go to our website, put in an application.
Some great
We'll make it.
programs y'all have. Fire on the 40.
Yep.
Some great programs that y'all that do some habitat work also.
Absolutely.
And I mean, just getting in. Look, it makes me feel good that people are sending you pictures of deer, wanting you to know how, because they've
right.
made that relationship with you and they trust you. Yeah.
That's what we do. We're
Yeah.
like I
cool.
said, meeting with landowners, getting that connection, free advice. We're not trying to sell you anything. It's free advice because we want people to succeed in this state.
Yeah,
Doing
that's awesome.
wildlife management.
No,